As we are dealing with creditors reconciliations, we will first have to define what a creditor is. Now, a creditor is a liability, so it is when we owe money, and specifically we are owing suppliers that sold to us as a business um, products or rendered services where we take the product now or we experience the benefits of the service now and we will only pay later. Now that we defined what creditors control is, or rather creditor is, let's focus on the creditors control account in the general ledger. Now, the creditors control account um, as our liability account uh, is it shows basically the balance shows what we owe all our creditors in totality, and we obtain that information from our various journals, namely the creditors journal, where we record all the transactions where we purchase various items on credit, whether it would be equipment or trading stock, or even services rendered like repairing services that we record in the creditors journal, which we then post to the creditors ledger. Then we also will post from the creditors allowance journal when goods are returned by creditors, or when we return goods to creditors. So let's just look at the structure of the creditors control account. We know it's a liability, so it's in the balance sheet account section. Liabilities, we know from our accounting equation, increase on the credit side. So we will have balances on the credit side, and then everything that we purchase on credit, we will also record on the credit side because we are going to owe more money to our creditors. And since we are not only purchasing trading stock on credit, but could also, for example, purchase equipment, we will have a collective as our contra entry, namely total purchases. And as already explained, we record it in our creditors journal. Now, sometimes we pay our creditors and then we will record that transaction in the cash payments journal, and in the cash payments journal. But now what happens is sometimes we have insufficient money in our bank account, so that check will be referred to draw a check, and therefore what will happen in that case, since we have insufficient funds, the money won't go through our bank account. We will therefore still owe the creditor, and therefore we will have to increase the amount that we owe by crediting the creditor to cancel our original entry that we made in the CPJ. So bank will therefore be the contra entry. The other possibility is in fact that we overpaid the creditor and the creditor will refund us. Okay, so if we are refunded, then obviously the money in our bank will increase. We will record in the cash receipts journal. If it's a RD check, as explained, originally we will have recorded it in the CPJ, therefore now we will have to record it in the CRJ to cancel. And then we also have what we call journal credits, because there are certain transactions that just simply don't fit into the creditors journal or the creditors allowance journal or the cash journals. So we record those transactions in our general journal. And an example will be if we are late in paying our creditors, they may add interest to our account. Also, sometimes it's possible or required that we need to transfer balances between the debtors and the creditors, um, between debtors and creditors ledger, especially when we buy stuff on credit from a supplier and that supplier also buys stuff from us. So sometimes we have to transfer the balances from between the various ledgers. So if we focus on the debit side of the creditors control, that is where we reduce what we owe the creditors. When we pay our creditors, we will record it in the cash payments journal. It will go through our bank, so bank is our contra entry. And if we pay our creditors early, they usually allow a discount to us, so we can receive also discount. Then sometimes we purchase stuff from creditors, we are not happy, we send it back, or so we have to record that in our creditors allowance journal. That is all about the returns and the goods we are not happy with. And we refer to it as total returns, as it could be equipment, it could be stationery, it could be trading stock, it could be a variety of things. So we have to use a collective name instead of the name of one account as contra entry. And then similarly, sometimes we have to record things in the general journal. So we will have journal debits in that case. Example again is like transferring balances between the debtors ledger and the creditors ledger for a specific supplier who could also be a customer from us, because there's a relationship vice versa or both ways. Yeah, and then obviously our closing balance will also be on the credit side as it is a liability, so we expect a credit balance.